Alright, so I found this, well, almost quiet spot to take you around the outside of the car. There's a few birds squawking in the trees and some sort of a bush turkey over there. Can you hear that? Gee, it's impossible to find peace and quiet in... For any of you that are old enough to remember, there's a 1967 song called To Sir With Love. Now, in the lyrics of that song, I don't really know it too well, but I know it goes something along the lines of, "You've taken me from crayons to perfume." Now, I'm feeling that a little bit today. Yesterday, I was riding a Harley Davidson. Today, I'm driving a Mercedes Benz GLC300E plug-in hybrid. Alright, now I've found a nice little quiet spot just by the water to take you around the outside of this GLC300E. I'm down in the backwaters of Patonga at the moment, and it's just a really beautiful spot and a really nice place to come and drive one of these cars. Now let's have a look around the outside of the GLC. Starting at the front end of the GLC300E, and you can see that it's essentially a standard GLC300, except for, of course, there's an electric motor, there's a battery, but the grille looks really good. I think the car looks like a nice aggressive SUV. Nice, probably a nice tasteful amount of chrome, as well as the brushed metal look as well. Forward facing camera and front bumper sensors down in the bottom of the grille here. Now looking at the front headlights, they're LED as standard. You can get an LED upgrade in these, however these LEDs are absolutely perfect with the nice signature Mercedes Benz daylight running lights as well. Now coming down to the wheels, we've got these beautiful two-tone brushed metal and black alloy wheels. You can see there's a massive Mercedes Benz brake caliper in there. And I just think these wheels look nice and aggressive, but tasteful as well. Now the wing mirrors have indicators built in, they've got colour-coded paint, and also the camera that assists with a 360-degree camera when you're inside the cabin. Beautiful brushed metal alloy steps, side steps to get in and out. Makes a difference to just the black plastic ones that a lot of them have. Just adds a little bit of class, a little bit of style, and it's definitely metal because it's bloody cold today. And of course, coming around to the rear of the car, you've got all LED tail lights, you've got more sensors down in the bumper, and as you would expect, a nice automated tailgate. As you can see in the boot, you've got all of my camera kit, which is quite a substantial amount, and there's plenty of space in here. A sun shield that comes out to protect your gear. We've got seat releases so the seats can fall down, 60/40 seat release here, and underneath the floor of the boot you've got storage for your power recharging cord and a range of other things as well. Now one of the cool little features I like about this car is if you're lifting heavy things in and out of the back of the car, you can actually lower it just by using this button here. I can feel that coming down. Of course it probably doesn't show on the camera much, but it's coming down quite a fair bit. It's slow. There's air ride suspension here, so all it's doing is letting air out of the rear shocks. And then when you drive off, it rises itself up again back to its normal riding height. I've parked myself in mud on this side, so unfortunately Gosford Mercedes Benz, I'm really sorry. If there's mud on your carpet, I'm terribly sorry. Anyway, in the cabin of this GLC300E is, well, what can I say? It's Mercedes Benz luxury, as you come to expect, but There's a whole range of controls here. You've got controls to adjust your digital dash. Obviously you've got your stereo controls. You've got an arm here to put your car into drive, reverse or neutral. You've got the MBUX entertainment system from Mercedes Benz that is so successful. You've got plenty of storage, 2 cup holders, phone storage in here, even for large phones. You've got your center console, plenty deep, 2 USB-C adapters in here. There's also a USB-C adapter here in front of the cup holders as well. And we've got the Mercedes Benz touchpad here that controls everything on the screen, and the stereo system, of course. We've also got your drive modes here where you can switch between battery, petrol, sport, sport plus, and the transition is absolutely seamless. Over on the door controls here, we've got your seat controls on the door panel. You've got a headrest, lumbar support and seat adjustment, forwards and backwards and up and down. And you've also got a switch here where you can bring your thigh support out further if you've got longer legs, or bring your thigh support in. Also your heated seats switch is on your door, and obviously all of your mirror controls and your window controls. Now it's interesting to be said that once you set your seat position, your mirror position and your heads up position, and you save that as a preset over here, there's 3 presets. If you press your, just say your preset number 1, and you jump in and you press number 1, everything adjusts to exactly how you like it. So your steering wheel adjusts, your seat adjusts, your heads up display adjusts, as well as your mirrors adjust. So it's a complete preset system, which is really quite exciting. For when you're running in the petrol mode using the automatic gearbox, there's also flappy paddles here, so you can change your gears up and down, have a little bit more control. If you're like me and you like to really control the car, then you have control of your gear selection as well. Anyway, let's go and jump in the back and see how I fit. Alright, in the back seat. And I've got my driver's seat set up for myself at 5'10". In the back seat, you can see I've got so much leg room. There's plenty of leg room. I reckon if you're even 6'2" in the front seat and 6'2" in the back, there's going to be plenty of space for you as well. Headspace is fantastic, and also have this this sunroof that opens both in the front and the back. It's a full panoramic roof, I think they call it. I've got it closed at the moment because of my little bald head and the sunshine, but I'm going to open it once we get going for you so you can see how it works. In the rear we have 2 air vents and what looks to be a temperature controller as well. Coming down here into this little flip out that once upon a time would have been an ashtray, there is now 2 USB-C outlets plus a 12-volt cigarette socket outlet to recharge your devices. A map pocket in the back of both seats. The back of the seats are hard plastic and the front of the seats are leather. That actually makes sense because this needs to be a bit more durable, especially if you've got kids here in the back seat as well. The rear seat armrest also has flip-up storage underneath it. There are no power outlets here, although there are 2 down there on the floor, but very groovy little cup holders in the front of the armrest as well that fold out. Alright, coming around to the back of the car, the last little bit before we jump in and take you for a drive. It's a really pretty looking rear end on this Mercedes. LED tail lights, obviously as you would expect, an electric opening tailgate. Along the bottom of the bumper you've got all of your safety parking sensors. And let's have a look at this too. And here is the outlet for where you plug in your cord to your house power to be able to charge this thing overnight. Enough of the boring stuff. Let's get in and go for a drive. Alright, here we are driving away in the GLC300E. Now, let's talk about what this is. It is a plug-in hybrid, which means it has an electric motor that can be plugged in and charged overnight, but it can also be charged by the main engine. So let's talk about the facts and figures. The engine is a 4-cylinder inline engine, 1991cc. Now this has 155 kilowatts at 5,500 RPM. It has 350 Newton meters of torque at between 2,000 and 4,000 RPM. So the engine is quite a capable little engine in this SUV. Now let's talk about the electric motor. The electric motor has 90 kilowatts but 440 Newton meters of torque. So the electric motor is quite substantial within itself. Now the electric motor will run up to about 130 kilometers per hour on its own. When you get to about 70 kilometers an hour, if it's not on the electric setting, that's when your combustion engine will kick in. And when they are combined together, check these figures out. When they are combined together, there's 235 kilowatts of power, and there's a monstrous 700 Newton meters of torque. Now that's not a torque in anyone's department. So when you are using the electric motor in combination with the combustion motor, whew, you've got some pulling power in this baby. Now there's a bit of a catch with this electric motor. The battery bank only will supply pure electric power for 47 kilometers is the maximum range on this battery for this car. So if you're a city driver, you're like my wife and you drive from home to the station, frequently to the shops, whatever it might be, then you'll only ever be running on electric power if you're not doing 47 kilometers in a day, providing you charge up every night. But what sets this apart from a full-time electric vehicle is the fact that if your battery runs out or runs low, hey man, combustion engine kicks in and you can go for as long as you want. Now here's the other catch. I've got some mates that have electric vehicles and they swear by them and they love them. But if you've got a pure electric vehicle and you reach your capacity, your distance capacity, and you have to pull in somewhere to charge up, even with a supercharger, it's taking you at least 45 minutes to put an ample amount of charge back in your battery, if not longer. Now when the battery runs out of this and you're, say, doing a long journey touring somewhere, well, hey presto, you've just got fuel that you can use. Go into the servo, fill up with fuel, and you're ready to go again. You might not be running on electric power anymore, but you're still getting to your destination without having to sit around for 45 minutes waiting to get some charge into your battery. That's where I think hybrids are closer to our future than a full electric car is. I think technology is exciting the way it's going, but hey, if let's say even 25% of Australians, or even let's say even 10% of Australians bought an electric vehicle, pure electric, and then suddenly we've gone for a weekend down the coast at Easter time, then what happens when all of these people need to fuel up or recharge? What happens then? What happens to when everyone's waiting 45 minutes to get a charge? And that's where the electric vehicles in Australia, I think the technology is just a little bit too far into the future of unrealism, but hybrids is here and now. This is the way to live if you want to go down the electric car route. Now fuel consumption in this is about 2.2 litres per 100 kilometres. That's pretty crazy. That's really good at fuel consumption if you're someone who's counting your fuel consumption. Now unfortunately, this car wasn't charged overnight. My battery level is down at almost 0 and I've only done about 10 kilometers. So, but I have had an opportunity to test it out under its battery power and it's a really nice drive. Obviously there's the silence of battery powered cars, which is amazing. There's the insulation and sound deadening of Mercedes Benz, which is amazing. And to top all of that off, the GLC300E comes with air cushion suspension. So I might say that I feel like I'm on a cloud driving around in this. I just feel its comfort levels are unbeatable. It's quiet. If I was a classical music person, I could imagine this car just having classical music going, and the silence and the comfortability. Yeah, it's beautiful. Really, really nice. All right, price, I hear you say. Now, obviously, the moment you see the Mercedes Benz brand, we know that there's a price involved. And even on their lower level models, they're quite pricey in Australia, just the nature of our importing fees, etc. So this is coming in at around just under $90,000. Now, as driven today, there's a couple of upgraded packages on this. As driven today, this is sitting at just on about $100,000. So it's nothing to be sneezed at, but you've got all of that comfort and technology of Mercedes-Benz. You've got the state-of-the-art technology of a plug-in hybrid. You've got all of that horsepower and torque at your disposal. And if you're a brand person, you've got that three-pointed star sitting on your bonnet. All right, and just like that, the battery died. No charge left in the battery. We're on combustion engine only, and it was a seamless transition. I didn't even feel it, other than the fact suddenly I heard that there was an engine running, but it was yeah, it was, I didn't even feel any change at all, which I think is actually pretty great. Now that the engine is running on its own, you can only just hear the hum of the engine. So again, that comes down to the magnificent Mercedes-Benz So now that the batteries are died and we're running purely on engine power, it's actually really quite silent. The engine is, you can hear that it's running, but now if I give it a boot full, that's nice. That's a good amount of power. That's the 350 Newton meters of torque on the 1991cc engine, and it's got plenty of poke. But as I was saying before, the thorn in the side of electric vehicles, especially in Australia, is that when you run out of battery, you run out of battery and it takes ages to charge. Hybrids, I've run out of battery. Now I'm running on pure fossil fuels, rightfully or wrongfully, but plenty of power, still comfortable, still silent, but really nice indeed. I guess we're down at that end of the video now where I make a decision on whether I would spend my own money on a vehicle that I'm reviewing, and obviously in this case it's the GLC300E. Would I spend my money on this? Bearing in mind that this is near on $100,000 motor car. So right off the bat, I can say that it is out of my market, but it's not out of a lot of people's market. And if I was in a financial state to buy this and I was looking at an SUV, yes, I would easily spend $100,000 on this. I can see the value in the electric motor. I can see the value in the hybrid system. Obviously, you've got all the creature comforts and technology that Mercedes Benz offers. And yeah, without a doubt,